students in various educational institutions. But before I start that special conversation, let's take a quick look at the headlines. Union Minister Piyush Goyal reiterates India's strong stance on trade deal with US, says don't want a deal that compromises on red lines, especially in agricultural sector. In a major development in the alleged Badrinath temple donation theft case, a suspended temple committee employee Pramod Nautiyal arrested. Fresh trouble for J&K Chief Minister Omar Abdullah as BJP sends a 100 crore defamation notice over Omar's poaching claim remark. West Bengal Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari backs curbs on entry of Kolkata's Bankara Mosque within airport premises, cites security reasons. Mortal remains of 15 Indian tourists who lost their lives in the Vietnam boat tragedy to be repatriated back from Ho Chi Minh City. US releases fresh footage of Iranian strikes. US CENTCOM says it stuck Iranian military air defense systems and coastal radar systems. Iran launches retaliatory air strikes on Bahrain, fires at least 6 short-range ballistic missiles from southern province of Bushehr province. Global oil prices surged by 4% after Iran's retaliatory strike on US bases on Bahrain. "27 dead and 22 seriously injured in Bangkok pub fire tragedy. Fire officials say obstructed emergency exits hindered evacuation. For more than 2 years, Manipur has been trapped in a cycle of violence, fear and uncertainty. But today the crisis has perhaps reached innocent children. Several school hostels have reportedly been forced to shut after running out of essential food supplies. Boarding institutions have had no option but to send students home because their kitchens can no longer function. Along with these hostels, several gas agencies and petrol pump in the affected areas have also been suspended. Their operations don't function anymore. They are not viable. The immediate reasoning is ongoing economic blockade called by the United Naga Council. The blockade was launched following the killing of 6 Naga hostages. The UNC says the blockade is intended to press the government to deliver justice. Despite talks between the Manipur government and the Naga Council, no breakthrough has been achieved and the blockade continues. To understand the scale of the disruption, it is important to understand Manipur's supply network. The state depends almost entirely on road transport for food, grains, cooking gas, medicines, fuels and other essential commodities. In Kangpokpi district, almost all essential supplies are transported from cycle site through Imphal. In fact, nearly 70 to 80% of essential goods reaching Kangpokpi via Dimapur Road corridor are routed through Cycle Ukrul Road. Any disruption along this route has an immediate impact on the availability of food, fuel and other daily necessities. With freight movements severely disrupted, trucks carrying essential commodities are taking weeks instead of days to reach their destinations. Transport costs have surged, supplies have become erratic, and prices of basic commodities continue to rise. Traders now warn that shortages could worsen if the blockade continues. Remember, Manipur is a landlocked state that depends almost entirely on road transport for supply of food, grains, cooking gas, machines, medicines, fuels, and other essential commodities. With highways disrupted and freight movements slowing dramatically, trucks carrying essential goods are taking weeks instead of days to reach the state. Transport costs have surged, supplies have become erratic, and prices of basic commodities continue to rise. Traders are now warning that shortages would worsen if the situation continues. The result is now visible in the most painful way. Though there are voices who contest it and call it a cookie propaganda, let's find out about the truth first. On this conversation, I am joined by Brijesh Pandey, input editor, News 9. I am joined by Hijang Misao, social activist. Professor Mao, Xavier P. Mao, political commentator. I am also joined by Lamjathang Haukip, social activist. And former ADG BSF, Mr. P.K. Mishra. Jai Hind. Let me straight away go to Hijang Misao. Hijang, your opening comments on students getting affected by this particular blockade?
Thanks, Kartikeya, once again for this show. And I am quite grateful for creating this platform where we can also, put up the suffering of the people from the ground. It's been more than 2 months that the lifeline of Manipur, especially National Highway 2, blocked by the Naga group under United Naga Council. As a result of which, there are also many suffering gone through by the people, especially the civilians. I would particularly say the civilians and the students. Blocking the lifeline of the community, such as cutting off access to food, medicine, water, or essential supplies routes is widely recognized as violation of human rights because it undermines the fundamental rights to life, health, food, and also education. And now I want to speak from two angles. One is human right violation. Why I call it this is a complete human right violation because right to life and survival, international law, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 3 protects right to life. And blocking lifeline directly endangers survival by depriving people from essential commodities. And the second, right to food, water, and health. Now, the International Convention, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights guarantee adequate supply of foods to people, like food, clean water, healthcare. And obstructing these supply lines violates this right. And the third one is collective punishment. I would say in Manipur, this is a complete collective punishment because under humanitarian laws, deliberately depriving civilians of essential commodity is considered as collective punishment, which is prohibited. And from the legal and ethical dimension, I would say the international humanitarian law, that's the Geneva Convention prohibit starvation of civilian as a method of warfare. Now, what is very disappointing, very unfortunate in Manipur is I think this kind of action is taken up as a kind of warfare against particular community, which the international humanitarian laws prohibit. And the second one is human rights law says that states are obligated to respect, protect, and fulfill rights. And if state fails to open the lifeline of the people, then I think the state completely fails to do its duty. And the third one, I would say, ethical responsibility beyond laws. I mean, laws are there to protect one another from harms. Now, let's look from ethical perspective.
One by one, let me just take opening comments from everyone. Lamjatang Auke. Is this a fact?
Good afternoon, Kartikeya.
Is this a fact?
Am I audible, Kartikeya?
Yes, you are audible. Is this a fact?
Thanks. Yeah. First of all, I extend my sympathy to all the victims of this post 13 May Thado pastors ambush. Since then, about more than 20% precious life, innocent civilians, pastors have been taken away. And second thing, consequent upon the killing of the Thado pastors, 6 Nagas were abducted and then later on massacred in Leilon, Waipei. And consequently, the UNC, United Naga Council, have imposed a blockade that affects everybody in Manipur. So you see, when the United Naga Council took up a blockade, one thing was very clear. The worst affected area will be Kangpopi, and then comes Tengnopal. Kangpopi, which also includes some parts of Saikul. So knowing, keeping all these things in anticipation, the king of Kangpopi, the king of cookies, so-called, that Sioux militants, KNFP, and their, MLA, Nemcha Kipgen, took the cabinet but that cookie quota of deputy chief minister, anticipating that once cookie Naga confrontation escalates, and then it will be difficult for them to, free from the tension, because the cookies of Churachandpur have zero interest or concern about the cookies of Kangpopi. So knowing it very clearly, one thing is very clear that, Kartike, Manipur is a multi-ethnic society where even though we try to separate each other, that's not possible anymore. We can't live without other communities. So the cookies of Kampopi are, in some pockets of Cycle, some pockets of Lemakong, and some pockets where they are totally confined. That is a major problem at the moment. But they have the government, deputy chief minister, the cookie quota of deputy chief minister. What is he doing? Essential items, commodities, reaching to the public. That's the fundamental rights of each and every citizen, irrespective of cookie or Thado or, Naga or Meitei. So we can find it very clearly, like Kartike, the Kangpopi deputy chief minister, Nemcha Kibyen, has to, protect her own people. Even, of course, he's not, even though she took the cookie quota of deputy chief minister, she is representing the entire state. But she has to enforce law and order properly and ensure that all essential items, commodities reach to all parts of Kangpopi. That also she can ensure. So politically speaking, of course, it is the politician government who runs the, who prevails at the end of the day. But you see, is it really worth? When Nemcha Kipgen took the deputy chief minister for the cookies were very much angry against her, but she has to deliver for the cookies at this point in time, whether that is the reason why the cookies are saying this. You see, and one last point here, which I would like to add, we keep on blanketing cookie. The chief minister, Yumnam Khemchan, traveled to Zomi area despite hue and cry from the cookies in Churachandpur. You see, even in Churachandpur now it's very clear, the sectorization, the compartmentalization, the Zomis, the Mar, MLS traveling to Imphal freely. That one thing is very clear, that everybody, all non-Naga tribals in Manipur are not cookie anymore. So at this point in time, it's a cookie internal problem. The cookies of Kangpopi went to Chief Minister Yumnam Khemchan and visiting Imphal, saying that you need to rescue us, we need a kind of reconciliation. But at that point in time, the same cookie in P group of Churachandpur are totally against the cookies of Kangpopi, wanting reconciliation and peace. So that much I can put up at this point in time. Kartike, this cookie specific problem is creating entire mess to all the communities in Manipur.
Okay. Professor Mao?
Well, under normal circumstances, whatever the preceding speakers have said will follow. But now it is not under normal condition. It is a very tense condition, a sort of war. Therefore, all normal laws and norms are actually suspended. But at the same time, as per the Geneva Convention, the victims of maybe hostages or even medicine and other absolute essential commodities, of course, should be given. And what I have learned is the Assam Rifle and the CRPF and other security forces are also delivering some of the essential commodities. No doubt there is serious dearth of essential commodities, but they have been also supplied. And especially in Kangpopi National Highway, I was told that more or less the normal activities are going on. Schools like in Daily Village St. Francis de Sales School, both the Nagas and Cookies are also attending the school. And then, of course, up to a particular point of time, the Cookies were coming and buying from even Daily Village or nearby below Kangpopi area from Naga shops. But I think now that has been also stopped, I'm told. So the situation, of course, has gone a little from bad to worse. but it is not that dire, I would say, as per whatever I have heard. Therefore, even in times of war or in times of serious conflict, of course, certain humanitarian laws should be maintained. That would be my point. But at the same time, I think whatever the United Naga Council is demanding, I think some of the demands can be met, if not all. For example, those who have abducted the Nagas, since they are neighbors with the Kuki, they know each other very well. Who have abducted them? And so, what is the difficulty in arresting those accused people? Then I think that will satisfy the relatives of the slain whose bodies were dismembered, And then even those three Thadao pastors who were killed, the NSCN had actually only denied. And then Jelarong United Front had also denied. And then, as per Lamjathang Haukip's statement, in fact, it falls under the Kuki-dominated area between the two Kuki villages of Kozim and Kotling. Therefore, even who had killed those three pastors is actually very, very doubtful. And the Naga side, they have categorically denied. Therefore, on that ground, on assumption or presumption, just taking revenge, you see, and killing them instantly. And that too, in a very barbaric and savagery manner, I think that has made the people very, very outrageous and very, very angry, I would say.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, do you think that these number of blockades that are existing in Manipur are very peculiar to the state or very general in Northeast? They become instrument of coercion against the state.
Karthike, I have seen these blockades since last about 20 years. This is very normal. Not only in Manipur, but in Northeast also in Mizoram it used to happen. I have seen personally when I was there about 5 years or more in Manipur, it used to happen every month because Manipur, particularly the Imphal and Churachandpur and Bishnupur and all, the lifeline is from Dimapur and NS39. So blocking that one, of course, the Jijibam road is already blocked. I know which group is blocking it. So they must agree that even if Dimapur road is blocked, at least open the Jijibam road. Get some things from Jijibam road from Silchar side. That is also not happening. And I'm telling you, United Naga Council was supposed to do it. It was very well known. After the death of the barbaric killing of these 6 Nagas, it was very well known that United Naga Council will definitely raise their voice, and they have asked for various demands, like public shutdown, stringent public shutdown. They have already done it. That is in the Thankanpai village. Totally it has been blocked. In Kankopi and Saikul area that has been blocked. And the worst part of it, you see, even the medicines and water and food materials and petrol and all, that's also not going. Things are very, very difficult in those areas. Their demand is about legal and political demands. United Naga Councils, they have asked that they want against Kukijo group action should be taken by the government, and particularly KNFP. They should be declared as a terrorist organization, and that has some of the demands are there from United Naga Council, but that doesn't mean that we have to block the national highway. That is no. You see, particularly, I am telling you, where is Tanpankai village? It is in Saikul area, and the supply line is through Saikul and Motmung. They have totally blocked it. It's 40 kilometers north of Imphal. But I tell you, even if Assam Rifle and CRPF, they are giving certain goods and particularly fuel and medicines and all they are supplying. But why can't they open national highway? What is the problem? That was opened also earlier. If the government wants it to be opened, like Honorable Chief Minister, he is the first now to, after Mr. N.B. Singh, he visited Churachandpur. I salute him. He has gone to Churachandpur. But why he cannot open the Dimapur line? It's very easy. With only 2 battalions, you have got sufficient forces with you. You see, it is against humanity. You cannot block the national highway, because it goes against all Manipuris, not Kukis, not Pongals, not Maitis. It is against all Manipuris. It has to remain open, even if the Nagas were 6 Nagas were killed, and of course, you see, Kartike, what has happened after this? We are not discussing about Kanto Saval burning 6 houses so close to Limakong. They were burnt. And of course, 2 persons were arrested. That's a different issue. But it's so close to Limakong. And in that area, people are having no hope, no faith on army. I have read certain articles also in Manipur which has come up. So things are very bad in Manipur. But I expect what is happening at Kamjong, what has happened at Ukrul, what has happened at Ukrul,
You know what is the
what
most
has happened
important?
at,
What is the most
those
important
areas.
part?
We have to be very strict in our action and take bold actions now, because danda is required. Without that, you cannot do it.
25
Let us open this national highway.
25
It's
minutes have
wrong.
happened. 25 minutes have happened, Brijesh. We haven't discussed and used the word students. My show was on students, hostels.
Yeah.
And we have discussed
Of course,
various
that's all
granularity,
close. That's all close.
politics in granular nature, but we have not addressed the issue. The entire purpose of the show was Vidyalaya. I'll come to you, Misa. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. But we have not discussed students.
Well, I think, they are the byproducts of a conflict which is going on, and it looks like, that the government is completely inept, or I think, even the civil society or vested interest in certain civil societies is to make this conflict stay afloat rather than see an end to it. The fact of the matter is that it is extremely unfortunate that students have to vacate their hostels because food cannot reach there. But I think, in every single conversation, from people who are there on the ground, for people who have been working on the ground, somebody like Mr. Mishra ji who was stationed there, the fact of the matter is, I think if you ask me, it is the currency of the government which is going down every single day. And every crisis by crisis, it is going down. And it is extremely unfortunate. We thought N. Biren Singh will go and the new dispensation will come, and you had this, a Kuki and a Maiti as a deputy chief minister, and everybody thought things will improve. It has not improved. It's refusing to improve. And honestly speaking, even the groups are also aware that the government cannot go beyond a point. And that is the reason why they have an absolutely no fear to hold the state to ransom by blocking these national highways. And by blocking these national highways, do you think that any particular ethnicity is suffering? The entire, every Manipuri is suffering. But the fact of the matter is that, in a larger scheme of things, it is extremely unfortunate. The future is suffering.
The future is suffering. The students are suffering. The kids are not able to study. But, unfortunately, in the larger schemes of things, in fact, I would say that, the most important thing, which is education to your children, is something which, nobody is taking it seriously. The hostels have been closed, even the normal supply you're not able to send, and I honestly don't understand what are those forces there for. If you have to play this safe, then I honestly don't see. I mean, it's one group today, it's another group tomorrow. And the fact of the matter is that I also agree with what Mr. Mao was saying, that the government also has to take action in this barbaric killing of 6 Nagas. Mere assurances will only take you this far. Either you show a strong fist by saying that we will take this but not beyond that. You cannot hold the state to ransom. Unfortunately, all of these groups are able to, and they are, they are, unfortunately, but they are able to hold the state ransom, and the state is not doing at all, which is very, very surprising for me. I'll come to you, Jang. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Mr. Mao, do you agree with what Brijesh just said? That the state has been held to ransom?
By and large, I think what Brijesh has said is correct. All communities in Manipur are suffering. It is only a matter of a degree that some people are suffering more, some people are suffering less. True. So I think he is right. But I think the government should take, of course, a strong action, tactfully and very judiciously, as it is a lot of civilian people have already had confrontation with the security forces. So many people have sustained injury. Therefore, they have to make very sure that injuries and casualties are minimized. But at the same time, what is absolutely required, of course, that the government has to do, both sides, to do justice to the relatives of the slain, barbarically slain people, and also those who are really suffering immensely, for them also the government has to address both sides. That is a short-term solution. But for the longer mid-term solution, of course, each community in Manipur, like Zomi or Ramar and the Kuki, and also even the Thadao, all have to create certain new awareness. And their own militant group has to be also enlightened. If they have imaginary kind of map to capture others' land, I think that has to be made them aware that what is dutifully, rightfully belong to other, that kind of awareness, new awareness should be also created. Otherwise, like Mahabharata or like the Ramayana, I think if the Kauravas were so determined not to give and to capture as much as possible, if that kind of mindset is there, then I don't think there will be long-term peace in Manipur. Rather, it will be a kind of trial of strength and then settled by the strength of the respective parties. So that kind of a state may even come. But before we come to that kind of a state, certainly from a greater, more humane, more alleviating for everyone, such steps certainly has to be taken as far as possible, but very carefully, tactfully, and judiciously, so that suffering of the innocent people from all communities should not increase.
Okay,
so that would be my
okay, Mr.
suggestion.
Mishra, you are the only person who said that these blockades can be lifted. How can these blockades be lifted?
Yes, Mr. Karthikeyan, the blockades were lifted by me personally also. That's what I'm speaking. I'm very frank and I'm very sure if the government wants, this blockade can be lifted and easily be lifted. Let the order be very clear. The order was earlier very clear also. That is, of course, time of Ibobi Singh, I'm telling you. But then, I'm telling you, Mr. Karthikeyan, there is ethics of financing armed groups. That is also happening in those areas. Not only in Kankopi, it is also being done at Chandel and Kamjong area. We have to be very cautious. Yes, Karthikeyan, this ban, particularly this public shutdown and the shutdown of this national highway, it can be lifted. It's so easy from Dimapur to that of Imphal, and also up to More and up to your Jiribam. It can easily be done with 4 or 5 battalions of forces. And if the deployment can be proper on the hillside and also the roadside with moving patrolling, it can only be done. It depends upon the will. And if government takes a stand and gives the commander, a proper commander, okay, I want NH-39 to be clear. Takes only 24 hours to make it clear. With so many forces we have in Imphal. And I'm very sure the security forces can do it, whether it's Manipur Rifle, whether it's CRPF, BSF, or Army or Assam Rifle. They must do it. Government must come forward. Enough is enough now. Whether it is Kaithal Manbi, whether it is Kankopi, whether it is Saikul, whether it is Thankanpai, can we allow our students to, because the schools are shut down, the educational institutions are shut down, hostels are shut down. Can't government see it? Why can't we keep it open? Government can do it, and I'm very sure it can be done with Dimapur axis can be done with only 2 or 3 battalions, whether at Sanapati and Kankopi and Kaithal Manbi. You just put it. It's very easy to curb it, and we can open it. And I hope government can listen to me and they can do it. Yes.
Okay, it's time for a short break, but we'll come back and we'll talk about the students, because that's where I want to take my conversation. How many students are in Manipur? How many years have been affected? Where have they gone? How will they do their studies? Does it mean that the entire cycle of students is getting affected in remote areas in Manipur? Have certain alternative arrangements being made for them? After a short break.
baby, yo अमूल दूध and go for gold. आगे आगे बढ़ती है दौड़ती है दुनिया, अमूल दूध पीती है दुनिया.
It's confirmed. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been eliminated. But it was just not about Khamenei. It was also about the entire regime which the Americans wanted to take out.
Are the Iranians going to carry out their pledges, and are they going to continue with their attack?
Though Trump had said that the waves of attack would continue, but a new signal has come that there might be a small pause.
IRGC is likely to adopt lesser radical and more pragmatic approach to basically buy time so that the regime can survive.
There is much more than what is visible or to the naked eye.
Khamenei was killed because uranium enrichment and the Iranian desire to make a bomb.
That expertise is there. People know how to enrich it. There are infrastructure which can again be rebuilt.
Iran today is headless. There is transition, but conclusion is far away. So in this special edition of On Point, we were talking about what happens to the students. Because the story which we are doing today is that the hostels have been closed because of indefinite economic blockade called by UNC. And how is it affecting our students in Manipur? Hijang Misau continues to be with me. Lamjatang Haukip continues to be with me. Brijesh Pandey continues to be with me. Suhas Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis, he joins me. Thank you very much, sir. Group Captain Retired Nand Kumar Sharma also joins me. Thank you very much. Let me take opening comments from Suhas Chakma. Suhas, we are doing this story. I mean to say this does not make into national headlines that, hostels have to be closed because there is no food.
Extremely unfortunate situation, but it's not new in Manipur. And the fact that, after almost 2.5 years of riots, that the state cannot get control over the situation in the state, it's, I think, extremely unfortunate. It shows that the state effectively, despite, situation being relatively under control, actually is not in control of the situation. Because each and every time it's very easy for certain groups to burn or to close the national highway, and that remains possibly the only weapon at some point of time for the aggrieved communities. And when the state cannot find a way out, then it becomes a critical issue. And this is not happened today. If we recall, the incident had taken place, I think, in May itself, when the killings had taken place. And after 2-3 months, the state cannot find a solution, cannot arrest the culprits, or cannot bring the parties together and hold a discussion. It shows that, in one side, you have the complete failure of the state. On the other side, you have the suffering of the people in Manipur. I would say that the state ought to act with little bit more alacrity, because you cannot leave this to the groups to settle the issue.
Mr. Sharma, Nandkumar Sharma, your opening comments on this grim situation?
Yeah, Kartike, it is very unfortunate as we know that this problem is not a new one. This has been existing for a long time, and this has been brought up in the parliament too, not only by the MPs of Manipur. D. Raja, the MP from Tamil Nadu, if I am correct, he has brought out this problem of national highway blockade in 2010, and also by the MP of Manipur in 2013, Dr. Maina. And the parliament has directed that this problem should be resolved by the state government with available resources, that is the law enforcing agencies. And also there is enough laws and regulations, rules and regulations given in Indian law, like present BNS section 253 and also UAPA section clearly covers blocking of national highways comes under the UAPA, and also it is an illegal. So they can be punished. However, the administration and the government, including the state government and the central government, they are not able to do this clearing of blockade happening since more than 40 years. This is the present situation is just adding or is an extension of the old problem which have been happening. So it clearly shows that there is a lack of political will to solve the problems in Manipur, and the security forces have they are also keeping as a mute spectator because they do not get any instruction from the administration. So this is the biggest problem. So the change in mindset by the politicians, despite saying that we will take necessary actions, the law enforcing agencies should be clearly instructed and the highways can be clear. Can you imagine such a blockade in any other part of the country? It is not acceptable. I'm not talking or pinpointing to any one community. It is for all communities. The highways belong to the nation and it must be protected, and it is the duty and the responsibility of the government of India as well as government of Manipur. As per the parliament records, the responsibility lies presently with the Manipur government, which is not able to do so. Kartikeya.
Okay. Now, Hijang, to you, what is happening to these students? You have been working in that area. What happened to these students? Where are they studying? Have they been sent to other areas?
Kartikeya, the biggest concern is normalization of all these illegal activities in Manipur. And I am afraid this normalization eventually might also take to the level of legalization. Now, when the food supplies, which is against a human right, a complete human right violation, when all these food supplies are cut off, number of students, especially in Kangpokpi district, the picture that you saw is mainly from Saikul, which is also part of Kangpokpi, and other part of Kangpokpi, Leimakong, and the highway area, where there is also one JNV and Eclavia, which is under the sponsorship of the central government. And then we have two JNV in Kangpokpi. Both the JNV, because these are all residential. This residential school, since there is no food supplies, students are not allowed to come back. Because when there's no food supply, how would you also maintain the academy and the studies of the school? At the same time, there is also another KGV, Kasturba Gandhi Vidyalaya and Eklavya. These schools, since they don't have food supplies, these are all closed. Apart from that, the fuel, the petrol pumps, we have only 2 petrol pumps in Kangpokpi. These 2 petrol pumps are also completely closed because there's no supplies. And the Indane, the gas supplies, just imagine how would the people survive that. Now, my biggest concern is these students who are forced to be out of school because there's no supplies. It is, directly affecting the future of the nation. Now, these students who are very promising can become sports star and also can become a scientist, also can become entrepreneur, who also can become innovator. These students, if they are denied education, then the future of India as a nation is challenged by this community who block, and government must take action to declare them a kind of illegal organization to this kind of organization who is entirely blocking the food supply.
But the block, but the Misao, the larger issue is that blockade is being effectively imposed by every community in the state. It's not particular to Nagas. The cookies have done it. Other people have also done it. Hasina Karbi, noted social activist, also joined me. Hasina, we are doing these specific stories where the hostels and the colleges have been closed because of lack of essential commodities. Sir, the story, as Sohas says, may be old, but the fact is it's time to revisit it. Hasina.
Yes. So I think, Kartikeya, when we have to revisit, when the entire blockage has been called by the community, it is time for the community to also understand that they have to come to a middle part of ensuring that children should not lose their education, should not be facing the crisis of food and hostel and stay and all of it. So the community has a larger role to play as far as this situation which is happening at this moment. Secondly is, if there is a lack of distribution of the food at this moment, the district administration has to come on board. That's why district administration are there, to ensure that every district gets into a normalization, gets adequate support when crisis situation like this takes place. So I think these are very important, that community and district administration will have to come on terms that children should not miss their education. Children should not face the situation that is going on in the larger fight or larger issue that is happening. Why should the children face this situation? So unless until community and the district administration come to consensus to negotiate, to look into the situation, that children don't have to go back home, as what our other panel has mentioned, this problem cannot be addressed just by us talking on this panel.
I understand that, just talking on the panel, the issues cannot be addressed. Lamjachang, you wanted to come in, but I have a different question. It's not as if Manipur has not seen displacement. It's not as if Manipur has not seen violence. But the issue is, if we can't have a regular cycle of schooling, coaching, extracurricular activities for children in school and colleges, then you are really shaking the foundation of a state, the future foundation. If you cannot provide sense of ordinariness to children, then your state will not have a functional day-to-day life. Lamjatang.
Kartike, yeah, we have been enduring one blockade, but one thing comes up to my mind. You see, Manipur presently have a popular government. Is this popular government a show of incompetence by the leadership? Because comparably from 2017 to 2023, when N. Biren Singh was the chief minister, he was prompt enough to address all these issues. You see the improvement of law and order, the establishment, the nightlife, that can be seen in the last 7 years of N. Biren Singh's rule. You see, right after the popular government has come up, you see the present government led by Khem Chandji. If you look into it, the present suffering of the schools, students, is why? Because of the UNC blockade, to be precise. Why UNC blockade? Because of the killing of the 6 Nagas. Why the killing of 6 Nagas? Because of the emotional outbursts of the Kukizos, as claimed by the Kukizo Council chairman. Why? Because of that emotional outburst, they have to kill, mutilated, and dismembered such Nagas. TK. And then what is the role of the state administration? Even when the dead body was recovered, even when the death was not even confirmed, the Manipur government and the United Naga Council handed over to NIA. You see, it's very strange. This is the incompetence of the government. Even when they don't even know, or, transparency is very much required, Kartike. So now, blockade have been there. Everyone is blocking each other. Every community is blocking each other. And the worst is with the students. Okay, now how do we come out with this deadlock? The appeasement of the cookie, rock elements needs to be stopped. You see, in Laimakong, the cookies are very much against the blockade imposed by the Nagas. Why do the cookies have to burn down the 6th Meitei house when they are so much against the Nagas for blocking it? This type of cookie rock elements needs to be controlled. And the government of Manipur and the government of India is, appeasing the cookie, such type of rock elements. And this has been happening. Now today I'm here in Imphal, and the chief minister went to Chodachandpur because the Zomi people accepted him. The Damar community accepted the chief minister. No, this cookie specific problem needs to be addressed. The government of India has to stop appeasing these cookies until and unless these cookie appeasement policies, these rock elements of the cookies are controlled. The other communities are not feeling secure anymore. You see, 6 Nagas have killed today. Who can be killed anytime, anywhere in cookie-dominated areas? Everyone is afraid of that type of rock elements. The Kampupi cookie came up with an SOS, message to the chief minister. The Churchampu cookies are not allowing the Kampupi to make peace with all communities. So to stop all this type of socio-economic impact, Kartike, the communities have to come together, and the pro-peace people has to be, on board, and anti-peace people has to be isolated and deal as per law.
Okay, is there appeasement happening, Suhas?
Well, I think each community alleges the other of being, given preferential treatment. I think what is absolutely clear is that the state government has failed. It doesn't exist. With respect to these 6 incidents, killing of these 6 Nagas. I think it's a responsibility of the state. The moment certain incidents take place, the law will take its own course, which has not taken place in this particular case. It's also responsibility of the community leadership, whether it's Nagas, Meiteis, or Kukis, that you cannot justify certain acts. Just the way we cannot justify denial of food to the children, you also cannot justify the killing of 6 persons, which you later on in the media had stated that it's because of emotional outburst. So I think Manipur sees a problem where the non-state actors have actually been exercising the powers of the state to control the society. Now, when the state allows the non-state actors to be deciding factor,
complicit,
then you will have this situation.
Complicit.
Now,
Complicit.
what's
They're
the
complicit.
role? Yeah, what's the role? You have the wife of a non-state actor serving as the deputy chief minister. If that is the case, then what's the linkage between the state and non-state actors? And at that point of time, the issue will come up, who is controlling the government of the day. So I think the biggest problem in Manipur is that whether in the name of peace, in the name of ceasefire, the state has, evaporated itself. It doesn't exist. A deficit of the state structure doesn't exist. There is no difference between the state and non-state actors. And we have the central security forces, I have been saying from the beginning, reduced to being the UN peacekeeping forces in Manipur. Now, that cannot continue. It is very easy to take control over the national highway. You deploy enough security forces. If you can deploy so many security forces in West Bengal to conduct the elections, why can't you deploy security forces for the national highway? And also open the doors for talks with all the actors, all the communities. So the key issue is how much serious the state government is, how much serious the central government is. This is not something which cannot be resolved. It can be resolved.
I think you have hit the nail on its head, Mr. Sharma. This state accommodating non-state actors without thinking twice that the non-state actors are wielding the power of the state itself and creating this vacuum.
Yes, Kartik. Yeah, I do agree with Mr. Lamjathang and Mr. Suhas. They have well explained the problems. And also, we are just knowing, or the rest of the Manipur is knowing this problem after this 2023 3rd May. Otherwise, the situation has been prevailing in the Manipur for the last 40 to 50 years. And it's good that people are knowing how the misadministration and how the people of Manipur are being treated, though we call ourselves as a democratic, one of the greatest democracy in the world. So this is, people in the mainland are becoming aware, and the pressure must be put from the mainland, because we in Manipur are tiny state, and very few populations, including all the 3 communities, is less than 30 lakhs. So it has no voting, no political significance if you see in the political arena of the India as a whole. So as Mr. Suhas has correctly said, I think the government of India is treating Manipur as the forces deployed in Manipur as UN peacekeeping, and the same has been expressed differently by the Mr. Lamjathang also. And now we have been talking about the education of the children and all those. That's fine, good. They are required in nation building. Now, the situation in Manipur is reduced to Maslow's hierarchy of law, just in the basic hierarchy. We are fighting for food, shelter, and not clothing. Okay, we are fighting for food, we are fighting for the shelter. The houses are burned, the food supplies have been blocked. So we are not able to think beyond these basic needs of food, shelter, and clothing. So who can ensure this? This can be ensured not to the people or not to the community leaders. It has to be done by the government of India and the Manipur government, because they cannot leave these scenarios for long to the community heads. We know that they have been fighting and there is no agreement among the community leaders and the communities. So the existing laws of the India must be imposed. Why we require a law and order in India? Why we require security forces?
Hasina,
you have been working across the border.
I really want to come back to the students, and I take the closing comment from Vijesh. What impact does it have on the student and society if children don't go to colleges regularly, children don't go to schools regularly? How does it impact the society in long run when their educational cycles get disrupted?
When every cycle get disrupted, Kartike, we are building children with post-traumatic syndrome more and more because they become more anxious, the anxiety level goes higher because the uncertainty of going to school not being available. And that's when the situation get it worse because the young mind then get disrupted to start giving, between understanding that this is not going right. And then they are the future. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, more and more children who are unable to get out of Manipur to study outside the state, because not every parent, not every family can do that, are going through this disruption on a continuous basis. When that disruption takes place, children are suffering from post-traumatic syndrome.
PTSD.
This is something which is very, very highly important for all of us to understand. We have our state partners like New Life Foundation. More and more, counseling session in the camps, the children is being given. And we are seeing this trend, of children being affected from that. So the prolonged situation of the closure is going to have larger impact. So if we have to look at for the future generation and larger impact, all the communities, no matter what the bigger fight is, will have to understand that school should not be affected. School will have to continue, and they will have to ensure to come to a middle path to give them access to go to
Vijay, Prime Minister Modi has been making this point that all his ministers get to spend time in Northeast, Then where are these ministers?
Well, I think,
they spend, point blank, where are these ministers who are in charge of districts or who are in charge of the state, education, exams and all that?
I mean, why minister? I think, the entire government apparatus is missing from the scene. And, I have been saying this from day one, so it's not a new scheme as a new statement, that the government of Manipur has abdicated its responsibility. And, as Suhas was saying, and something which I said before Suhas joined, is that, every single incident devalues the currency of the government, and it only reinforces the point that it is writ of the non-state actors which are running large rather than the government of the day. Why can't the government with so many boots on the ground, all kind of paramilitary and central forces at their disposal can request for more boots on the ground if they want to, but send message to all these non-state actors that, listen, if you have a genuine grievance, we are all there for you with all kind of, help which you require. But if it's an unjust,
what is your assessment? You have covered this party for more than 20 years now. What is this assessment? It's a double engine ki sarkar, double barrel. Is wo priority kyun nahi hai?
Well, I think, the situation has kind of slipped away from them. If the change of the government should have been done right at the earlier, without allowing the situation in Manipur to reach this particular level, I think a lot could have been done. But 2 years and then, effecting a change in the government and then getting a new person as the chief minister, getting, one cookie, one Maiti to make sure that, one Naga to make sure that, there's harmonious and it will increase, cohesion between the ethnicity was an exercise in absurdity.
Suhas used to say that years ago, the basic problem is they are looking at it from the securities lens. That, things will work out in long run when it comes to Manipur. Is it because of that? That the situation will come back to normalcy on its own?
Asking home, Khattige?
I say, this is what you used to say, na? The people, they are waiting for the situation to come back to normal on its own.
Well, I think that's what they have always done that. If you look at the conflict between the Nagas and the Kukis in the 1990s, they basically thought time is the best healing method. But, the time has changed. Now, I think, one of the key factors is the lack of involvement of other actors in the whole process. And I think the time has come for us, even from the region, from the Northeast, to say that, whatever the demands which the Kukis, Nagas or Métis may have.
It's more, Suhas, what is unfortunate is, thing has become more complicated, there were 2 parties, now there are 3 parties, and all 3 parties have become very adamant on their issues. It's one issue which has got complicated.
Well, I mean, I think the key issue which all the groups have to realize that you may want redrawing of the boundaries, you may want certain things, but time has come to realize that, you have to stop and engage in a process and violation of somebody else's rights. The deaths and etc. It actually doesn't help. I mean, I could not understand after engaging in conflict with the Métis, I mean, a new clash would start with the Nagas. I mean, it just fails me to, I can't understand what led to this particular situation, and it's so unfortunate that you have this conflict now with the Nagas. So almost the entire Manipur is locked from the Bama side, from the Assam side, from Imphal side.
Yes.
So if that is it. It's a locked country. Nobody can enter. You can't enter from the Bama side.
Sahas, I've really run short of time, but you have nailed it. The larger issue is instead of things getting simpler or more online, the entire issue has got more complicated. But today the focus was that the cycle of education of students is getting disrupted, and we took this opportunity to show it. And I think that's where the government should work, that students, children, their cycle, their sense of ordinariness in a state must be restored. I thank all of you for joining me, and this was our commitment to Northeast and Manipur, which will continue. So this is all I had on Point. I'll see you after a short break. Why has Iran stopped the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz?
They want to attack us, they want to target us, so we have to defend ourselves.
They are punishing countries outside the region as well, like India.